It's Thanksgiving Eve. It has become our little annual tradition. You guys come to the YouTube channel. I review AEW Dynamite the day before Turkey Day here in the US. Tonight, AEW was in enemy territory. Specifically, the Elite were in enemy territory because Dynamite tonight was live in Chicago, and the Elite were part of match 2 in a best-of-7 series for the AEW Trios titles against the champs, Death Triangle. We had a great match with these two teams at Full Gear this past weekend. They brought it back for a second match of what is a best-of-7 series, and Death Triangle has gone up 2-0 over the Elite. 2 straight losses since coming back for the Wayward Sons, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, who went out tonight. They had another really fun match. I enjoyed the hell out of that match, and the Elite knew going in. See, they're smart enough to understand, coming into tonight's show, that they would not be greeted with great warmth by this crowd here in Chicago, and so they came prepared. The Elite were out there tonight. They were healing it up. They were leaning into the crowd reaction. All the chants that you would expect, and some chants maybe that you wouldn't have expected in Chicago. We're going to talk about all that, but I thought that those two teams went out there and, again, tore the house down tonight. We had William Regal on the show tonight, but no MJF. The new AEW World Champion was not on the show. I wish I would have known that before I put this thumbnail together, but shout out to Steve for all of his great work. William Regal, though, said we're going to have to wait one more week to find out what MJF has to say. He made reference to an email that he had sent to MJF, I guess, weeks ago. Didn't share any information about what that was about. But we did have a very pissed off Jon Moxley, who was still not on vacation. He wanted to confront William Regal. He got stopped by another member of the Blackpool Combat Club, a very impassioned member of the Blackpool Combat Club who may have saved William Regal's life on the show tonight. Ricky Starks, the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. He and MJF, good friends for many years on the independent scene. Now they're going to be standing on opposite sides of the ring in a few weeks in Texas at Winter is Coming. Ricky Starks, the biggest match of his career, the biggest match of his life, will be wrestling MJF for the AEW World Championship, and I love it. When this tournament started, I said, the one man who ought to go all the way to the finals and win was Ricky Starks. And now the stage is set for what should be, I think, some pretty damn good promo battles on TV between MJF and Ricky Starks. We also have a new undisputed AEW Women's World Champion. Her name is Jamie Hayter. You might be saying, well, we already knew that. No, Jamie Hayter was crowned the new interim Women's Champion at Full Gear on Saturday night. The interim label has been removed. Jamie Hayter is now the official and one and only AEW World Women's Champion. Thunder Rosa has relinquished her title, and it sounded like the fans in Chicago could not be happier when they heard the news. And what must Thunder Rosa have been thinking watching that and listening to that crowd reaction when they announced that she was no longer the AEW Women's Champion? It was a move, frankly, that should have been done on day one. When Thunder Rosa got hurt and they didn't know how long she might be out for, there never should have been an interim label to begin with. But Tony Khan fed news to Excalibur during the show to let the fans know that they are not going to disrespect Tony Storm. They're going to acknowledge Tony Storm as the official AEW Women's Champion because Thunder Rosa retroactively surrendered her title, which means that Tony Storm's run will officially be recognized, not as an interim title run, but an AEW Women's Championship run. And there was no Tony Storm in action tonight. There were a few people missing tonight. Samoa Joe is not on the show tonight, coming off his TNT title win on Saturday. So he was not there. Saraya was not there, although we don't expect her to wrestle, weekly. She's going to be easing her way into things, but she picked up the win on Saturday. No Saraya tonight. But when this show is over, and we had a fucking war in the main event for the Ring of Honor World title with Chris Jericho and Tomohiro Ishii. I can't wait to talk about that. That was a hellacious main event. When this show is over, I thought this was a damn good episode of Dynamite. There have been some very iffy episodes of Dynamite and not so great episodes in recent weeks. I was very much not enthused by the build to Full Gear, even though I knew on paper the matches would deliver, and they did. It's one of the best shows they've done all year. But I can't say that I was terribly excited going into that pay-per-view. There's just been something missing. A spark has been missing from Dynamite now for quite some time. And it doesn't even have anything to do so much with CM Punk. There's just been something missing with Dynamite that was there previously, that made the show feel special, that made the show feel exciting and fun. And it's been very hit or miss. Tonight, it felt more hit than miss. It got some of that spark back tonight. And we'll go through the entire show. This is your AEW Dynamite review for Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. I am the Solomonster. Hit that subscribe button. Super chats are open. I remember last year, actually the last couple of years, we had a hell of a Thanksgiving Eve stream when it came to reading all your super chats. So we'll see how that goes tonight. But get them on in, because if you do, I will read them. I will give you a special shout out and try to answer whatever questions you may have. I set a modest goal tonight for Be the Booker. We are looking for 300 likes minimum. So hit the like button if you want to get the Be the Booker segment, or if you just want to help out the video. You can hit that thumbs up. And we will hopefully be able to do that a little bit later on. I do want to make mention, I've seen other people, I saw Sean Ross Sapp even from Fightful mention this on his Twitter about the Fightful YouTube channel. And I think a whole bunch of different YouTube channels are experiencing this, even the non-wrestling ones. So I just wanted to mention this. YouTube has been making changes to the interface. They've been, changing certain things. And unfortunately, they have made changes that are not for the better. I'm the kind of person, I'm always of the belief, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. YouTube apparently does not subscribe to that notion. So they've been making all kinds of changes, and now, the live streams are listed differently. If you put a preview page up for a live stream, a lot of people aren't seeing it. Some people aren't getting notifications. I don't know what YouTube did. They completely fucked everything up. So just so you guys are aware, you always need to assume I'm streaming on Mondays, I'm streaming on Wednesdays, and I'm streaming on Fridays. Unless otherwise told, you guys know where to find me. So even if you don't see a notification that you normally would get, or you can't find the live page, you could always check on Twitter. I usually will let you guys know if there's any change there. But I've been sharing the links directly for the people who don't see it. So you may not be having any issues. Everything may be just hunky-dory on your side. But for the people who have been wondering, hey, how come I can't find the link? Or, this is different. This is not where it used to be. That's YouTube. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Hopefully they will fix it, because there are people who normally would be joining us on these streams. And I've seen it in some of the numbers on the streams who aren't joining us because they don't know that I'm live. That pisses me off. And it's affecting what I do in the channel. So just be aware of that. Always assume that I am live on the nights that I usually am live. And I'll try to hook you guys up with a direct link. So just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. William Regal opened the show. He was already in the ring. There was no entrance. He was already standing in the ring after Excalibur did the introductions at the beginning of the show. William Regal, the last time we saw him was on Saturday night at Full Gear, slipping the brass knucks to MJF and helping him win the AEW World Championship. So now he was here to explain himself, or at least we were hoping he was here to explain himself. He asked the fans in Chicago if they wanted to hear from the new champion, Mr. Friedman, and everybody cheered until he told them that they would have to wait until next week. And then they all booed. He said MJF didn't want to be caught dead and then he stopped and he had to ask somebody off camera, where are we tonight? And they informed him that they were in Chicago, and the fans really didn't like that. We got loud, fuck you, Regal chants. Here we got this classy man is being showered by chants of fuck William Regal. As he said, very uncouth of the fans here in Chicago. He said that MJF was busy filming on the set of a major motion picture, and then he said that a number of weeks ago, he sent MJF an email. Didn't say what this email was about, but he said that he sent an email to him that he will let MJF explain next week. He's not going to tell us. He's going to make us wait. They're going to drag this out for another week. Fans didn't like hearing that either. Wild Thing interrupted, and here comes Jon Moxley. very slowly, pissed off look on his face, burning a hole in William Regal from across the arena, taking his time, coming through the crowd, walking to the ring with a purpose. Finally, he gets to the ring, and he's about to tear into Regal. Here comes Bryan Danielson. He's in a hat, he's in his street clothes. He runs into the ring, he gets in between the two of them, he's pushing Moxley back, he's begging him to back off, please, just listen. And he's trying to talk some sense into him. So Danielson said what Regal did was a bad thing. But he said, you've done bad things too. I've done bad things. He said, we've all done bad things. He told Moxley about Regal. He goes, he's got a bad neck. He's had a couple of bleeds on the brain. Please, don't touch him. Leave him alone. Do no harm to this man. Moxley was doing all he could to stop himself from exploding before Danielson slapped him in the face. Bryan quickly apologized, fell to his knees, and he told Jon to listen. He told this man to listen so many times, I thought he was about to break into a rap and tell Jon Moxley that he wanted to scissor him. He goes, listen. He wants Jon Moxley to listen. He stood back up and he said he didn't care about the boos because the crowd was booing Danielson. They wanted Regal dead. They wanted Moxley to tear into him right then and there. And Danielson said, just ignore the crowd, ignore the boos, because the crowd, has nothing to do with this. He told Moxley he knows all about his struggles. He brought up his own father, who went through the same struggles that Moxley did. And when his dad had those struggles, he said he didn't understand it. But there was one man who counseled him and helped him. And that was William Regal. And for the final years of his dad's life, he said he was able to love him because of Regal. So imagine someone teaching your daughter, he told Moxley, someone teaching your daughter to love you in spite of your struggles. He pleaded with Moxley, if for no other reason, spare Regal for me. Do it for me. Because I love this man. So Moxley had to turn away. And he's up against the ropes. He's shaking with anger. He's boiling over with rage. Like Bray Wyatt on SmackDown, right? He's trying to contain all that rage from within. Trying so hard not to snap. So he turns around. He stares Danielson in the face. He grabs the microphone from him. He tells him, get out of the way. Bryan steps aside. Moxley then walks right up to William Regal. He looks him dead in the eyes, right? In the eyes of the devil, as I said, how many weeks ago? I said in the eyes of the devil, right? He didn't even know. He was staring right into the eyes of the devil. Stares into his eyes. He calls him Lordship. And said, well, I'm a lord too, remember? Lord Regal, Lord Solomonster. I have my plot of land in Scotland, in fact. Shout out to everybody who took advantage of that offer with established titles. You still can. You can be a landowner. So he called him Lordship, and he said that he only wanted one thing from him. Run away. He said, run away as far as you can and never, ever come back. He pointed over Regal's shoulders towards the entrance tunnels, and he told him to walk and keep on walking. And Regal just stared at him, and then he slowly backed out of the ring, and he walked to the back. Moxley looked like he was about to murder somebody. The crowd sang the na na na, hey hey, goodbye song at Regal as he walked out. I thought that this was a great opening segment. I very much enjoyed the intensity of Moxley and the urgency of Danielson trying his hardest because he knew what was about to happen. It was like trying to talk somebody off a ledge before they jumped. Regal didn't do anything. Regal just stood there as all of this was going on, and he had that great look on his face, that almost look of disgust, right? I mean, his facial expressions have always been great. He could tell a story just by looking at somebody. So I thought everybody in this segment was great. I do feel like they needed that big MJF promo coming out of the pay-per-view. And MJF even teased it at the media scrum the other day when he was going off, and he said, you want to know why Regal did what he did? You want to know why things went down the way they did, you're going to have to tune into the MJF show on Wednesday night. He wasn't even there tonight. The reality is, if what Regal said is true, if tonight, he really was on the set, because he's filming that role of Lance Von Erich in the Iron Claw movie about the Von Erich family. I don't know what his filming schedule is. It's very possible that he was telling the truth, and the reason MJF was not on the show tonight is because he was off wherever they're filming, doing whatever filming he needs to do for his part. And if that's the case, there's nothing AEW can do about it. They're going to have to work around his schedule. It might be for a few weeks. So if in fact he was on set somewhere filming, they made the best of it, him not being there. Now they can use it as a tease for next week's show after the holiday. Get people to tune in to see what MJF is going to say, or see him and Regal maybe in the same ring together at the same time. But I thought the intensity here from Moxley was off the charts. I will say, though, I will laugh if William Regal, he tells William Regal, I want you to walk and keep walking and don't stop walking. If Regal, hey, Steven Ciampa with Bully the Clown making an appearance here on Thanksgiving Eve. Bully the Clown, it wouldn't feel like Thanksgiving if I didn't see Bully the Clown at least once here on the stream. Hey, Steven Ciampa, he says, enjoy your Thanksgiving tomorrow, Lord Solomonster. First of his name, King of Wrestling podcast, and consumer of noodle pudding. I am so looking forward to the noodle pudding tomorrow. If you don't know what noodle pudding is, it's a family original. Only in my family. My cousin makes it. It's not really pudding. Frankly, I don't know why it's called noodle pudding. It just sort of took on that name. It's basically a bunch of like egg noodles that they almost like look glued together, but it's like in the slice of a pie. But it's got cinnamon. It's got, I'm so looking forward to this tomorrow. Anyway, Steven, thank you. But what I was saying is I would laugh if Regal kept on walking right back to WWE. I don't know what his contract status is. I doubt that his contract was for less than a year. I don't think Regal is going anywhere, but there's been rumors online about Regal's contract coming due soon. I haven't seen that reported by any reputable source. I don't think Regal is going anywhere. But I'm sure Triple H would love to have William Regal behind the scenes working for him up on that main roster. So when the time does come that Regal's contract is done with AEW and he's free and clear, I am sure that Triple H would happily take him back. Because I think Triple H values his service. It was not Triple H's call to get rid of Regal. That was something that they did when Triple H was down after his heart attack and he was out of the picture. And they basically got rid of most of his guys, right? Shawn Michaels is still there, Matt Bloom, Steve Corino, everybody else, they pretty much cleaned house. Regal was one of the most shocking cuts of all the names that got cut over the last couple of years. Triple H never would have done that. You don't think Triple H wouldn't take William Regal back in a heartbeat? So we have to wait until next week, I guess, to see if Regal and MJF are going to be an on-air pairing. Or if William Regal is still going to be walking and he won't be there next week. But I thought this opening segment was great. So backstage, we had Renee Paquette trying to get a word with Keith Lee, one half of the former AEW Tag Team Champions, Swerve in Our Glory, who had a split at the end of their match at Full Gear. Don't appear to be a tag team anymore, but he was in the back, and Renee wanted to know where things stand with him and Swerve Strickland. Before he could answer, Swerve showed up, and Keith Lee told him to choose his words wisely before he speaks. Swerve put his hand up and covered the camera lens so we couldn't see what was going on, and this was after Keith Lee took his jacket off. He was ready to throw down, but Swerve was covering the camera, and he said, let's talk, and Keith Lee said, without that, talking about the camera, he goes, without that, sure. And that was the last that we saw of them all night. So someone finally acknowledges the camera and wants to have a private conversation. How come other people don't do this? Swerve Strickland said, why is there a camera there? We can have a private discussion. We don't need the camera present. We'll have to wait a week, I guess, to find out what they discussed. We had the All-Atlantic Championship on the line with Orange Cassidy defending his title against Jake Hager of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Hager was wearing his stupid purple bucket hat. He wore it during the match until it fell off. It got knocked off. And Orange Cassidy is on the apron when this happened. It's like time stood still. Hager couldn't believe it. He looked down. The camera showed the hat sitting on the mat. You saw Orange Cassidy on the apron with a look on his face like, uh-oh. The crowd chanted, "You fucked up." So he's very, very sensitive when it comes to his hat. It's really the only thing he has going for him. What else is there about Jake Hager that's very appealing, right? The biggest thing that Jake Hager has going for him is the purple bucket hat that he wears on his head every single week. And that's still not enough to get me to give a shit about Jake Hager. But it's the closest thing I can think of. Doesn't make him any more interesting. Hager controlled the action through a commercial break. Cassidy took out Daniel Garcia, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker. They were out there in his corner, Hager's corner. Took them out on a dive. Hager caught a top rope DDT attempt, which Cassidy countered into a stun dog millionaire and then a DDT. Hager blocked an orange punch, slapped on the ankle lock. Cassidy broke the hold by ripping the hat off of Hager's head. And Jake Hager was more preoccupied with his bucket hat that he was winning the All-Atlantic Championship. And that allowed Orange Cassidy to get the roll-up and the flash pin to retain the title. So after the match, we have QT Marshall. We hear his voice on the PA system. He comes walking out with the Factory. As if I couldn't care any less about any of this. Now we have QT Marshall and the Factory walk out. He said that since Cassidy didn't have a problem giving away All-Atlantic title matches, the Factory, at this point, surrounded the ring. Before he could say anything more, though, the ring is surrounded, but the lights go out. And so the lights are out for a while. Finally, we see there's a red light, like the Fiend, and we see Julia Hart is on the ramp. And the people, they know what's coming, right? They're getting excited now. The people know what's about to happen. When the lights come back on, all three members of the House of Black are standing in the ring behind Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, and Chuck Taylor. It's Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, Brody King. They attack Cassidy, Romero, and the Best Friends. The members of the Factory are standing on the apron. And all the Factory members are watching this, and they're kind of smiling like, oh, okay, like they're impressed by what they're seeing, right? House of Black, they look at each other and they decide, fuck these guys. And they put the boots to the Factory as well. They start beating them up. So security guards pour out. They're trying to contain the situation. They all get demolished. The crowd was eating this up. They love the House of Black. They capped off the assault with Brody King hitting Dante's Inferno to one of the security geeks on the stage. They had made their way all the way up to the stage. And Brody King gave this guy the sit-out pile driver right there on the stage. Malachi took the microphone. And he addressed all of his, I guess you'd call them congregants in the House of Black, all the members of the House of Black. And he asked everybody to rise. And then the lights went out and they cut to commercial. I didn't care for the match. Like I said, it's hard for me to really care when Jake Hager is out there. The hat doesn't make me care anymore. But he was also more preoccupied with the hat than he was winning the title. So this was all just one big comedy segment. And comedy is fine. I just didn't think that this was anything, this was nothing worth getting excited about. But the post-match was great. It's great to see the House of Black back. House of Back? Would we call them House of Back? Is that more appropriate? We'll call them House of Back. House of Back is back. Actually, that sounds stupid. So they're back on TV. They weren't gone for very long. Again, was it a case where Malachi tried to leave? He tried to get out of his contract to go back to WWE? Maybe, but Tony Khan was never going to allow that. So now they are back, and hopefully now we will get to see them featured more. Hopefully a lesson was learned in this situation. Hopefully Malachi is all healed up. He had some very serious issues with his back that he thought might be career-ending. He looked pretty good out there. So physically, he looks to be in good shape. They've had a couple of months off to recharge the batteries. Hopefully whatever was going on in his personal life is taken care of. I know he's had a pretty tumultuous year. He shared on Instagram. I hope that's all resolved. I hope it's all behind him and he's healthy. And now we can see more Malachi Black and House of Black on TV. These guys are your future trios champions right here. There's a feud months down the road between the Elite and the House of Black. That is where we are headed, I believe, in the first quarter, in the early part of 2023. But I also would like to see Malachi Black featured more in singles competition. With MJF being the world champion, he's not going after that. But could I see Malachi Black as the TNT champion? Absolutely. As the All-Atlantic champion? Yes. Even though I think it's a completely meaningless title. Yes, I could definitely see him competing for that. He was involved in the match, actually, to crown the very first All-Atlantic champion at Forbidden Door. So I hope that this is an opportunity for them to hit the reset button on these guys and really do more with them. Make use of the talent that they have and feature them more. And this is big for Tony Khan and big for AEW because in less than a week, from Saturday to tonight, they just got back 6 names. 2 trios teams that have been missing now for the last couple of months, and he just got them back on TV. He just got them back on his roster. That's big for Tony Khan. We had the finals of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament, All Ego. Ethan Page, one-on-one with absolute Ricky Starks, who beat Brian Cage on the Full Gear pre-show, the 0-hour pre-show on Saturday. Stokely Hathaway had a microphone. He introduced Ethan Page as the next AEW World Champion. And Ethan Page took the microphone. He told the crowd that after he beats Ricky's ass tonight, and he's standing in the middle of the ring crying, all of these Chicago babies can join in and cry like the losers that they all are. And my friend was crying earlier today. He's a big Philadelphia Phillies fan, very upset that Bryce Harper is having I don't know if he's having it or he had Tommy John surgery. So looks like he's going to be gone for a good chunk of the year. Oh, I'm sad. Ricky Starks walked out. He was wrapped up like a mummy. His shoulder was wrapped up. His ribs were wrapped. He's like the walking wounded, this guy. Because he had, in the span of 24 hours, 2 matches against 2 men who were twice his size. He had a match with Lance Archer on Rampage, and he had the match with Brian Cage on the pre-show on Saturday. And he won both of those matches, but this is the end result. He's the walking wounded. He spent, I would say, 95% of this match selling his injuries. This was a great sell job by Ricky Starks. Wrestling is about a lot of different things. Selling is an important aspect of pro wrestling. Ricky Starks, he had the selling down pat because that's pretty much how he spent most of this match. He hit a desperation spear. He could not capitalize. Page drove Starks into the barricade and the ring post outside the ring. He stayed in control throughout the duration of the picture-in-picture break. Rosso P. Coltrane with the $2 super chat. I love that name. Love that name. An old Dukes of Hazzard fan, right? Roscoe, it's all the same. Roscoe P. Coltrane. Thank you, Rosso. So we come back from the break. Starks made a one-arm comeback. Tried a tornado DDT. Page hung him up, ribs first into the ropes. Starks fought back. He sent Ethan to the floor. Reluctantly tried for a dive, but Stokely Hathaway shoved Ethan Page out of the way. Starks crashed and burned. The referee saw this, and the referee ejected Stokely Hathaway. We got our second round of na 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 na, hey hey, goodbye chants of the night. Page and Starks went up in the corner. Page tried for an avalanche body slam. Starks countered into a superplex. Ricky hit a swinging neck breaker and a tornado DDT for 2. Tried for the Rochambeau, could not get it. Page hit a power slam for a close 2 count. Ricky was able to avoid the Ego's edge. Page missed the lariat, and he ate 2 more spears, and Ricky Starks pins Ethan Page. Ricky Starks is now the #1 contender for the AEW World Championship. He has punched his ticket to Winter is Coming in Texas next month, December 14th. That is the Winter is Coming episode of Dynamite. And we are going to get Ricky Starks against MJF. So this tournament, when this tournament began, Ethan Page was, I want to say, the second person to announce himself for the tournament. I think the first person was Dante Martin. And Ethan Page announced, he threw his name in the hat. And I said, this tournament is an opportunity for somebody like an Ethan Page, if he doesn't win the entire thing, to at least go the distance and could really be a big benefit to him. Here, he can finally have a spotlight on him. But Ricky Starks needs to be in this tournament too. This is before they announced that Ricky was even going to be in the tournament at all. Then they announced he was in, and I said the finals of this tournament should be Ricky Starks one-on-one with Ethan Page. And then depending on who comes out of Full Gear with the title, you can do Moxley against Ethan Page, or you could do MJF against Ricky Starks. And I was 99% sure that we were going to get MJF walking out of Full Gear with the title, which we did. But here we are now. We have Ethan Page and Ricky Starks in the finals. Ricky Starks goes over. It played out exactly the way I was hoping it would. And it sets the stage now for a unique match that we've not seen before. Ricky Starks is going to have a spotlight shown on him in a way that we have not seen yet in all of the time he has been in AEW. So this is a big match for him. I think it's actually a great opponent for MJF. It's somebody who in the week or two before that episode of Dynamite, we could get some really fun back and forth between these two on the mic. We know MJF can talk, right? He's got that silver tongue. Ricky Starks can talk too. Ricky Starks has charisma for days. He's not going to back down. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see what they come up with. There is a history there. They are friends from the independent scene. I don't know if that'll come up in any of the promos. And I don't expect Ricky Starks to win the championship. I mean, that would be ridiculous. You're not going to beat MJF. But even in defeat, this is a huge opportunity for Ricky Starks. And I would like it to not be a one and done. I would like that match to be kind of his entry point to that next level in this company, even if that doesn't mean he's going to be a main eventer or a headliner, but just to get him into the mix. For him to go out there and have a big showing in there in a world championship match could open the gates for him to be in the TNT title picture. Again, very, very similar to what I mentioned before, Malachi Black, somebody who needs to be featured more consistently on television. It's not enough to put him on TV for a couple of weeks and then he vanishes for another 6. That doesn't do any good for Ricky Starks or for AEW. Use this as an opportunity to get some of these faces featured more on TV. This is an opportunity for Tony Khan. I hope he takes advantage of it. We had a video shown of Jade Cargill confronting Bow Wow. Bow Wow had a concert in Miami after Full Gear. So after the pay-per-view was over, Jade Cargill and her baddies went to Bow Wow's concert. Now, for those of you who don't know, and for those of you who don't live on social media, Jade Cargill and Bow Wow have had a back and forth on, I guess, Twitter? I don't know if they're beefing on Instagram. On Twitter. They've been going back and forth. Bow Wow has talked about wanting to train to become a wrestler. I think Rikishi offered to train him. Like, this is going back a ways. So they're working some kind of an angle. They send her to the concert. And she approaches Bow Wow at the step and repeat, which is basically, for those who don't know what that is, I mean, it's an area where people, celebrities, musicians, whatever it may be, you see the backdrop, they pose for photos. I think that's what that was anyway. So there's a whole commotion. Security has to get involved, and they basically threw Jade and her girls out. So now we're back live. We're in the back, and they showed footage of this, and it was like, 15 seconds of nothing. I don't give a shit about any of this. But they come back live. Renee is in the back with Jade. Red Velvet is back. Kiara Hogan. The other one. The honorary baddie. I forgot who it was. And so Jade says that Bow Wow is a whack-ass rapper. And she said that Chicago was a whack-ass town not deserving of her title celebration because Red Velvet said, we got to celebrate your big win over Nyla Rose at Full Gear. And Jade said, we're not going to do it tonight in Chicago because they don't deserve it. So she called in Mark Sterling, her attorney. And he said that Jade has no comment on the Bow Wow situation. So now it's a situation. Now it's a situation. It's a Bow Wow situation. Sterling said that Kiera Hogan, come over here for a second. I have something to tell you. Jade walks off with the rest of the baddies. Mark Sterling is there with Kiera Hogan. He goes, I need you to sign this. And it was basically a piece of paper that says that she was, I guess, being held responsible for something. Maybe it was Jade having her title stolen by Nyla in the first place. I didn't pick up on exactly what she's being blamed for. But basically, her services are no longer needed. So she signed this piece of paper, and she is no longer officially part of the baddies. And she was an original baddie, too. And she has now been fired. So for anybody who cares about any of this, there's your update on the baddies. There's your update on Bow Wow. And hopefully I don't have to speak of this again. Bow Wow, Bash Bow Wow was not on the show. We had match 2 in the best of 7 series for the AEW Trios Championships. Death Triangle defending against the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. Ooh boy. Things got very lively in Chicago for this one. The Elite were out first, again, to Carry On My Wayward Son by Kansas. I guess they've adopted that as their new theme. They were walking into hostile territory. We had a loud chants of fuck the Elite. We had loud chants of CM Punk. We also had loud chants of fuck CM Punk. So a very bipolar crowd here in Chicago tonight. We got a little bit of everything from them, but they were loud, and that's the point. That's what made this so much fun. They were loud the entire time. Whoever they were cheering or booing is not even relevant. Who cares? This crowd was amped up for this match. Pac was out there donning a full face guard for the broken nose that he suffered in the match at Full Gear. Excalibur explained that the titles were not on the line, and this is important. In all of these, match 3, match 4, unless the series ends at that point, the title is not on the line in each of these individual matches. At the conclusion of the series, whoever has the most wins will be the AEW Trios champion. So Death Triangle are the champs right now. But let's say if the Elite went in there tonight and won, they wouldn't be the new champs. Which I thought was understood. But Excalibur had to explain that just to make that point. And I like that. I think it's much better that way. Because look, if they're building to the Elite, getting their trios belts back, it takes the oomph out of it. If, let's say, they win tonight, oh, now they're the new champs, right? But now we move on to match 3. Death Triangle wins the belts back. What are you doing? You're just trading the belt back and forth. And I know that's what Booker and Benoit did back in the day, but I would rather they not do that here. And if the Elite are going to come out on top at the end of this, and you know they will, save their big title redemption for the end of the series. Don't have them win the belts tonight and then just play hot potato with it back and forth. So I think that's the right way to go with it. Omega and the Bucks coming into tonight, they knew full well the kind of reaction that they were going to get from this crowd in Chicago. Most people watching knew what kind of reaction that the Elite were going to get coming into Chicago tonight. They were walking into the Lions Den, and so what did they do? They leaned into it. They decided to embrace it. There was no sense in fighting it because you're fighting a losing battle. So from the moment they came out, their mannerisms and, the way they worked the match, they were working this match to try to get a rise out of the crowd. They were working this match as the heels. And to the people who will say, well, wait a minute, I thought Kenny Omega did an interview with Sports Illustrated this week, which in the interview, there's a quote from him saying that he hopes that everybody can just sort of leave the past in the past. Let's move on from that whole situation. I can't comment on it. We can't say anything about it. Can't say anything about CM Punk. Let's just let bygones be bygones. Let's just move on beyond this, right? And now people are saying, oh, what a hypocrite. Because Omega's out there and he's doing the Punk gestures, right? And they're kind of poking the bear and they're needling the crowd. They knew coming into tonight that they were going to get booed. And they made a conscious decision to have some fun with it, play the heel role, and lean into it. Because, like I said, you're not going to be able to fight it. So for one night, play the heel. Embrace it. Mock the fans. Do the little CM Punk taunts. Next week, you're not going to see that. This has nothing to do with them working an angle. Oh, it must be an angle. CM Punk is coming back. Or, oh, he's such a hypocrite because he said we should move on and now he's not moving on. This was a one-night thing. They were in Chicago. I don't know why anybody would have expected anything different. Next week, it's going to be like none of this even happened. They'll go out there, they'll get cheered. There's not going to be any references to CM Punk, and they'll be beyond this. I didn't look at this and go, oh, what a hypocrite, or, oh, they're working an angle. We're in Chicago. What did you expect? They were going to come out and everybody's going to sing Kumbaya? They were going to get a standing ovation? Would you rather they just come down to the ring and ignore it and pretend like none of this was happening? They leaned into it. They had fun with it. It made the match more fun. Have some fun. Smile. Laugh. It's good for your health. Omega laid out Rey Fenix to start the match, and immediately it was chaos. The Elite cleared Penta and Pac from the ring. Action spilled out to the floor. Nick Jackson, Matt Jackson, they deliver stereo apron power bombs to both members of the Lucha Bros. Or actually, no, it was Penta and Pac. Rey Fenix was in the ring. Omega did the CM Punk go to sleep hand gesture right before he set up for the Terminator dive. But as he hit the ropes, Rey Fenix popped back into the ring and he landed a cutter on Kenny Omega. Phoenix jumped to the top rope. He hit a tornado dive onto the Young Bucks on the floor. Omega landed a kick to Pac's damaged face, which caused him to roll out to the floor. When he did, Nick Jackson was on the apron. He delivered a soccer kick to the face. Pac and Omega, they battled in the ring, and Omega landed a Kitaro Crusher before tagging out to Matt Jackson. And one of these fun little moments during the match, which I'm sure made all of the Elite haters or the big CM Punk fans, steam was coming out of their fucking ears. But this was great. I laughed when I saw this. Kenny Omega bites Pac on the arm in the middle of this match, right where he was bitten on the arm by the old vampire over there, Ace Steel, who thought he was one of the walkers from The Walking Dead. Kenny Omega here biting Pac on the arm, mocking the entire situation. And he got reprimanded by the referee for that. Pac fired back with a German suplex, and both men tagged out. Phoenix tagged in, and at that point, once Phoenix tagged in, I pretty much gave up on trying to keep track of what was going on. I mean, they were all over the place here. Nick Jackson tagged in. The Young Bucks pulled the face mask off of Pac. All three Elite members delivered a BTE trigger to him. Nick Jackson made a cover. Phoenix broke up the pin. Nick dove onto Penta and Phoenix on the floor. And Kenny Omega landed another V-trigger on Pac. You like that, huh? Here it is. Here's the picture again. AEW Bite Forever. That should be the cover of the AEW video game. If you're going to remove CM Punk and put Kenny Omega on the cover, this is the photo I want on the cover of the AEW video game. I want Kenny Omega taking a chunk out of Pac's arm. Look at this guy. The only thing he forgot to do was put a little bit of salt on there, spread some ketchup, maybe some honey mustard. Well, he's taking a big ass chunk out of his arm. He's getting Thanksgiving dinner early. Although Kenny Omega is Canadian, right? So Canadian Thanksgiving is not tomorrow. When is Canadian Thanksgiving? Isn't Canadian Thanksgiving in December? October? Steve Mello, you're Canadian in the chat. Let me know. When is Canadian Thanksgiving? Kenny Omega is not celebrating Thanksgiving. So Omega went for the one-winged angel. Pac, though, slipped out. Omega then hit a GTS to Pac instead. And that got a rise out of the crowd. Pac kicked out at the very last second. Matt Jackson tagged in. And Canadian Thanksgiving is in October. Thank you, BlissFan. BlissFan is bringing the knowledge here in this chat. I was not expecting that answer from BlissFan, but thank you. Why do people call Kenny Omega Twinkle Toes? Because Jim Cornette calls him Twinkle Toes, and they can't think for themselves. They can't come up with their own name for him, so they use that one. Matt tagged in. They set up for the Undertaker. Phoenix, though, broke it up. He dove onto Nick and Omega on the floor. Matt landed a low blow to Pac, which Rick Knox did not see because Rick Knox is legally blind and he cannot see these things. Matt then pulled out a ball-peen hammer, just like the hammer that Rey Fenix used to beat Kenny Omega with at Full Gear. And Matt was getting ready to use the hammer. He was kissing it. He was licking it. He was doing all sorts of unsanitary things here to this hammer. What he did not see is right behind him, Penta got in the ring, and Penta brandished a hammer of his own. And when Matt Jackson turned around, he got whacked in the head with the hammer. Pat covered Matt, got the pin. After the match, Phoenix was not very happy about his brother using the hammer, but Phoenix, he might have been pissed, but Penta looked pretty happy. Penta didn't seem to mind too much. Penta was having a great week. Penta, I showed the picture the other night on the Raw stream because I had to show something interesting because God knows that show certainly wasn't interesting on Monday night. I don't know how I even stayed awake for it. But on Monday Night Football, Penta rather, was at the game and he handed George Kittle his very own lucha mask. And he immediately put the mask on. He was posing for photos. They were doing the whole Cero Miedo thing. Like, he had a big-ass smile on his face. Penta had a big-ass smile on his face. So Penta's having a great week, man, right? On the sidelines of Mexico City at the Monday Night Football game. He just retained the trios titles with his bros on Saturday. Tonight, hits a guy in the head with a hammer going into Thanksgiving. It doesn't get any better than that. So this match was a lot of fun. I enjoyed this a lot. The crowd reaction, the playing to the crowd, the action itself. I love this match. Death Triangle goes up in the series now, 2 wins to nothing. Match number 3 is going to be next Wednesday in Indianapolis. And you know that this is totally going the full 7, with the Elite coming out with the win when this is all said and done. Renee was on stage. And Renee announced that due to the extent of Thunder Rosa's injuries and the uncertainty over when she will be able to return to action in AEW, she and AEW management have reached an agreement and she has been asked to relinquish the AEW Women's World Championship for the benefit of all of the women in AEW. When she announced that Thunder Rosa was relinquishing the AEW Women's World title, the crowd cheered. The crowd nearly exploded in Chicago because that meant that Jamie Hayter now is officially, undisputedly, the AEW Women's World Champion, the one and only AEW Women's World Champion. But still, she announced that Thunder Rosa was relinquishing the title and the people cheered. And you know that Rosa watching from home, or when she does watch this, you know that had a sting. And I actually think it's better that she wasn't there, frankly. I guess she couldn't be there anyway because her back injury wouldn't allow for it. But it's better that she wasn't there because if she was there, and I'm sure if she would have come out on the show, she would have gotten a nice reaction. She would have gotten a respectable reaction. But if the crowd would have reacted like that with her there in person, she's been gone for a few months. She's been nursing this injury. She comes back and says, "Hey guys, I'm sorry," tears in her eyes. "I have to relinquish this championship." And then picture the Chicago crowd cheering. I mean, how would she have felt then? So I actually think it was better that she wasn't there live in the building for this. But with that reaction, it's better that she wasn't. But as I said at the beginning of the stream, there never should have been an interim champion in the first place. We had just come off the whole interim world champion situation with CM Punk and Jon Moxley. And, Tony Khan could not have foreseen, Thunder Rosa now would go down with an injury, but there was no need to do the interim title thing again. They should have just stripped her of the championship. Tony Storm crowned the AEW Women's World Champion. And when Thunder Rosa is ready to come back, she's first in line because she never lost the title. Doesn't have to be champion against champion. You could have still gotten back to Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm. So there was never a need to even do that in the first place. Later on in the night, or during this next match, Excalibur announced that since Thunder Rosa relinquished her title retroactively, Tony Storm's reign will be recognized as an official AEW Women's World Championship reign. And I say to that, good. Good. She should have been the official champion from the start. Why should her title run be marginalized because of this stupid interim nonsense? So, officially in the AEW record books, wherever these record books may exist, Toni Storm is going to be recognized as an AEW World Champion, and that, I think, is the right move to make. Because she doesn't deserve the short end of the stick. Renee welcomed out the new, no longer interim AEW Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter. Big reaction for Jamie Hayter. She comes out with Britt Baker and with Rebel. When Renee asked the champion for her thoughts on being the undisputed champion now in AEW, Britt Baker didn't even give her a chance to answer the question. Britt Baker grabbed the microphone out of her hand and said that she was going to speak on her behalf. She said that the word interim was never in our vocabulary. And she calls herself a doctor. Doesn't even know what the word means. Terrible. She told Renee to step aside and let the champion walk to the ring. So already we have Britt Baker here, the very first time that these women are out together on TV after Jamie Hayter's big win. And we already have Britt Baker big-timing Jamie Hayter and not letting her speak. It's already beginning. It's already starting. She's not even letting the champ speak. Hogging up her spotlight. We know where this is headed. We know where this is going. Yes, we do. Hey, it's Bill Baggins. Bill Baggins with the $20 super chat drop. And Bill says, Happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours. Bill, thank you for the Thanksgiving love. A very happy Thanksgiving to you and yours as well. I hope you enjoy Turkey Day tomorrow. I hope you get so stuffed that you can't even fit through the door to go home. They're going to have to butter you up to get out the door. That's what I plan on doing tomorrow. I'm going to eat until I fucking burst. I'm going to be having turkey. I know somebody is making brisket. There's going to be turkey. There's going to be brisket. There's going to be fucking stuffing. There's going to be noodle pudding. There's going to be crescent rolls. There's going to be a lot of shit on that table. And I'm eating it all. I'm eating it all. I already got my whole week with the gym next week planned so I can start working it off. We had a three-way tag team match. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter against Anna Jay and Ty Mello against Sky Blue and Willow Nightingale. Half of this took place during the commercial break. Everybody pretty much had a chance to get in, at least briefly, and see some action. But, you know, the only purpose it really served was giving Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter something to do on TV. That's the only reason this match even existed. Baker tagged into the match, landed a swinging neck breaker on Sky Blue. Willow took Baker down with a slam, and Hayter hit a big boot. She followed up with the hate breaker on Sky Blue, and Baker then hit a curb stomp and picked up the win. So not only stealing her thunder away on the microphone before the match, but then stealing the win. Britt Baker goes over here in this match, and then after the match was over, she grabbed the championship away from, I don't know if it was the referee, whoever had the belt. Grab the championship away from them so that she can then hand it over to Jamie Hayter. So, planting those seeds. Watch them grow. The seeds are being planted. Backstage, Top Flight and FTR were being interviewed together by Renee. Shout out to Todd Warner, who just became a Sound Off superstar here on Thanksgiving Eve. Thanks for Todd Warner becoming a Sound Off superstar. Membership now officially begins as of tonight. I am thankful for your membership. Thank you very much, Todd. I appreciate that. And I hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. Bearwolf says he's eating roast tomorrow. So, backstage, like I said, we have Top Flight, we have FTR. Dax Harwood tells them that they were very impressed with them. And he feels that they could take over tag team wrestling in the next decade. Darius Martin thanked them for the nice words and then challenged them to a Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship match on Rampage this Friday, which FTR happily accepted. And look, my only hope for Top Flight going forward is that, you know, they can stay healthy. You know, we've had Darius Martin suffered back-to-back very serious injuries. He tore his ACL. He was out for 13 months. He just came back all those months ago. I think he wrestled one match and then got involved in a very serious car wreck and then missed another 8 months or whatever it was. So Dante Martin has spent a lot of time by himself or tagging with other people. Now we finally have Top Flight back. Hopefully they're not snake bitten. Hopefully now they can, stick together for a while, healthy, and, show people what they can do. And I expect that to be a very good match on Rampage on Friday. I think that will be fun to watch. What is this? Are people saying that there was an injury? Are you kidding me? You're making a joke, right? I don't find that funny. So apparently, Dante Martin was injured tonight. Was he injured on Are you fucking shitting me? So, but it was Dante this time, not Darius. Well, okay, let's check on this. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. After what I literally just said. Well, we'll have to wait for an update here. I don't see anything. I guess these reports are coming from people in the building, but I'll break in if I have any more news on this. But people are saying that Dante Martin got injured at the Rampage taping. I hope that's not the case. That's unbelievable. At some point you have to ask yourself, yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, you have to ask yourself, are these guys cursed? Is there some sort of curse going on here? I mean, this is ridiculous. If it's not one, it's the other. I mean, what's going on here? Well, keep me posted in the chat. Let me know if we get word on the nature of the injury or how serious it might be. In the arena, the Acclaimed made their entrance. And Max Caster talked some smack about Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh. Billy Gunn was with them. Anthony Bowen said that his shoulder felt better. And Billy Gunn took off the tape from his previously mangled hands to a big pop from the crowd. They attempted to scissor each other. Lethal, Singh, Sanjay Dutt, and Jeff Jarrett interrupted up on the big screen. The crowd serenaded Jeff Jarrett with chants of "Fuck TNA." Hey, Rizzo, thank you for the $10, brother. Rizzo says he's excited for his Lions to play our annual Thanksgiving Day game, Food and Family, although I am Italian, so I have a lot of family who asks when I will find a nice woman to date. Pray for me. I know that feeling. Rizzo, thank you, though. Thank you for the $10. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and you know what? Make up some kind of story. Tell them, oh, you didn't know? I'm already dating a woman. You can describe her for them. Just, lead them on. That way they'll stop asking you. But see, then they're going to want to see pictures. They're going to want to meet her, or they're going to want to see a picture of her. Just go on Instagram. Find some Instagram influencer or something and say, hey, this is who she is. Anything to get them off your back. So yeah, they chanted, fuck TNA and Jeff Jarrett. Billy Gunn asked the truck to get Jarrett's old ass off the screen, which is hilarious to me because Billy Gunn is actually older than Jeff Jarrett, believe it or not. They all scissored each other, and that was it. That was literally the entire segment. They wanted the Acclaim to go out there and get a big pop in Chicago. They achieved that, but I don't understand what the point of any of this was. It does look like Jeff Jarrett is not going away. I thought that he was going to do the deal at the pay-per-view, do the tag team match, and then just sort of, keep in the back to his backstage behind-the-scenes role. But it looks like, no, he's going to be sticking around as an on-air character on TV. I disapprove of this. The main event on this show was Chris Jericho defending the AEW. No, Ring of Honor. Silly me, it's the main event of AEW Dynamite. And I thought that it was an AEW Championship match. But nope, it's the Ring of Honor World Championship, which has actually been defended more often in the main event of AEW Dynamite than the AEW World title has. So Chris Jericho defended the Ring of Honor, or Ring of Jericho World title against New Japan Pro Wrestling's own Tomohiro Ishii. Is it Ishii? We'll call him Ishii. Love Ishii, but that's what I call him. I call him Ishii. Jericho flipped the double bird to Ishii to start the match. He yelled at Ishii in Japanese, kept saying baka over and over again, which means idiot, which is why he used to call Tanahashi Bakahashi. They traded slaps. Ishii got the better of it. They traded shoulder blocks. I don't know why I wrote docs here. Ishii knocked Jericho down. They had another chop battle, which continued right on into the final commercial break. During the break, Ishii was chopping Jericho so many times and so hard, he split open Jericho's chest. When they came back from the break, they were still in the middle of this chop battle, and Jericho's entire chest was covered in blood. I mean, Ishii's chest was red, but Jericho's chest was covered in blood. So Jericho went up in the corner for the 10 punches. Ishii countered him out of the corner. He had him up on his shoulders. He countered into a powerbomb with a high stack for a near fall. Jericho absorbed an Ishii lariat and then took him down. Jericho went for a springboard move to Ishii on the apron. Probably that springboard dropkick he always does. Ishii caught him with a forearm strike. Both men ended up on the apron. Jericho hit a DDT on the apron. Ishii took a hell of a fucking bump on the apron. I mean, right on top of his head. His whole body flipped over as he fell down to the ground. So they were on the floor for a while. Both men made it back into the ring before the count of 20. They were adhering to Japanese rules where we have a 20 count instead of a 10 count. So they made it back into the ring in time. Jericho hit a couple of German suplexes and a lion salt, but Ishii kicked out at 1. Plus Ultra Adrian with the 1999 Solo Whacker. I call that the Solo Whacker. Actually, that's probably a bad thing to call it. The Solomonster Bushwhacker. Hey, don't judge me. The Solomonster Bushwhacker Super Chat. You get the yes chant for that, too. The 1999 drop from Plus Ultra Adrian here on Thanksgiving Eve. I will read your Super Chat here in just a little bit. We're going to hang out and have some fun. So Jericho hit a couple of German suplexes and a lion salt. Ishii kicked out at 1. He did the kick out, the strong style kick out at 1. Jericho couldn't believe it. He came back with a code breaker, and this time Ishii barely got the shoulder up in time. There was no 1 count this time. He barely kicked out. Ishii blocked the Judas effect. He took Jericho down with a headbutt, and then he connected with a sliding lariat for 2. Ishii tried for the brainbuster, but Jericho avoided it, and he tried to lock on the walls. Ishii avoided that. He hit a code breaker of his own. Big pop. Crowd came alive for that. So Ishii comes off the ropes. He connects with a vicious lariat. And he came within a hair of winning the Ring of Honor World title. We had chants of "This is awesome." You know, we've had matches before, even some of the Minoru Suzuki matches, where the fans weren't really, they weren't totally into it. But the fans were into this. This turned into a hell of a match here. Because at the beginning, it's like, all right, we have the chop battle, and I love Ishii, but I mean, it's just chop, 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 chop. Let's change it up a little bit here. And then as the match went on, it got good, right? It was more than just a chop fest. It turned into an actual fucking competitive match. So yeah, we had the "This is awesome" chants. Jericho finally got the walls locked on in the center of the ring. Ishii was trying to crawl to the ropes. Jericho dragged him back to the center of the ring. Ishii ended up rolling to his back, but Jericho took him back over. But this time he took him back over, not in the walls of Jericho. He took him over in the Lion Tamer, which I love the Lion Tamer. It just looks so painful. Put him in the Lion Tamer. Ishii is fighting and fighting, and finally he puts his hand up and he flips the bird to Jericho. Everybody cheers. But it was one last act of defiance before the inevitable Ishii taps out. And Chris Jericho retains the Ring of Honor World Championship. So we've seen a number of really good Ring of Honor World title defenses on TV from Chris Jericho. The one that stands out to me is the one, and probably still the best one. Although this one was close. This one's about on the same level. But the match that Jericho had with Bandito was great. This one was up there with that Bandito match. But Jericho has had a number of really good title defenses on television, on Dynamite, since winning the championship. So when the match was over, Jericho, they were running out of time. They had maybe 90 seconds left. Jericho raced up the ramp over onto the stage, and he looked over at Ian Riccaboni, who was doing commentary with the AEW announcers. And he didn't go over to him, but he was sort of threatening to. He had his back turned. Here comes Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio comes out. Jericho turns around, and Claudio nails him right in the face as they went off the air. So this turned into a hell of a main event, I thought, to cap off what was a very good, very enjoyable overall episode of Dynamite. I still don't really know what the point of the Acclaim segment was, other than just to get them on TV to do something. And there are certain things that we still don't have answers for. We did not see MJF. He may not have been available, but we still don't know what the situation is with him and Regal. We don't know what Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee talked about and where things stand with their team and their partnership. But we do have answers to a lot of different questions. We have answers to the AEW Women's Championship situation. That's been settled now. Thunder Rosa out, Jamie Hayter in. We know that Ricky Starks is going to Winter is Coming to challenge for the AEW World Championship. And we know that match number 2 went to Death Triangle in the Trios title Best of 7 series. And we will get match number 3 in Indianapolis next week. One other thing, by the way, and they didn't mention this, I don't believe, on TV tonight. We didn't see Darby Allin on the show or Sting. Sting is going to be teaming with the Great Muta in Japan later next month. I think that's going to be Muta's final match ever as the Great Muta. And then in February at the Tokyo Dome, he'll wrestle as himself. He'll wrestle as Keiji Muto for the final time. But that match in Japan next month, the Great Muta is teaming up with Sting. Sting is flying to Japan. He's going to team with Muta. We don't know who their opponents are going to be. Pro Wrestling Noah made the announcement that it's going to be Darby Allin teaming with them. So it's going to be a 6-man tag, Sting, Darby Allin, and the Great Muta. The Seth Rollins Super Chat. $35 Seth Rollins Super Chat as I sing horribly. I should have tried out for American Idol, but I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. Thirsting Howl the Third with the $35 Super Chat. You just like hearing me sing, don't you? It's like a cat being skinned alive. Thirsting Howl, thank you very much. I will get to your message here in a second. But anyway, yes, that's the update on that. Darby Allin going over to the land of the rising sun. He's going to be teaming with Sting. And what an honor for Darby Allin to be part of the Great Muta's last match. Tagging with Sting and Muta in Japan. That's got to be cool. Rampage this Friday is a special Black Friday episode. It is airing as early as I think any episode of Dynamite or Rampage. I sound like Jim Ross now. Any episode of Rampage has ever aired. 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific. So be aware of that if you are watching Rampage. You know you're not. But if you are watching Rampage on Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time, is going to be the start. FTR defend the Ring of Honor tag team titles against Top Flight. I'm going to look here in just a second to see if there is some kind of injury update on them. Darby Allin faces Anthony Henry. Hikaru Shida will be in action, and we're going to get the Butcher, the Blade, and Roosh against John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and 10. Again, tell me why I need to be watching this show. I'm not. But if you want to, 4 o'clock Eastern, we'll be doing the SmackDown review on Friday night. And now let's do the Twitter review and see what you guys thought of this show tonight. I have a feeling, and my feeling is correct. I was about to say, I had a feeling that we are going to have a very positive score for tonight's show, and there it is. 71.7% thumbs up, 14.8% thumbs in the middle, and 13.6% thumbs down. There you go. A very enjoyable episode of Dynamite tonight. I see I am not in the minority on that. Go vote at Solomonster. While Twitter is still standing before the whole thing burns down, you guys can go ahead and vote. Let's get to your... Actually, before I even get into the super chats here, And thank you, by the way, for all the love tonight. Send them on it, and we'll hang out here for a little bit. I will answer your questions and any Thanksgiving messages that you have. Yeah, ALB in the chat says, did better than Raw. That's not really much of a surprise given how Raw went this week. I'm just looking to see if we can get some sort of update on the Top Flight situation. And by the way, based on what we saw there at the end of Dynamite, the question I had during my full gear review is I didn't know who they were going to go with next for a challenger for Jericho and the ROH title of Final Battle next month. Based on what they did at the end of Dynamite, it seems pretty obvious that it's going to be Claudio. I guess we'll see if it's any kind of stipulation match or something, but I guess we're getting Jericho and Claudio again at Final Battle. So yeah, I'm not seeing anything here on Dante Martin. Let me just check here and see. Yeah, so there's a lot of people posting pictures, and you see FTR in these pictures hovering over Dante, and it looks like he might be hurt. So I don't know what the nature of the injury is. I mean, that's, you know, that sucks. That sucks. That's obviously not good. Hopefully it's nothing serious. But literally just sitting here talking about how hopefully now Top Flight can stay healthy. And then to see that happen is, wow. That is just ridiculous. All right, let's go through your super chats here. By the way, you guys smashed the likes goal tonight. So we're going to be doing Be the Booker. Not only did we beat 300, I think we could do 500 before I even get there. So 50 more. We need 50 more to get to 500. Let's do it. Let's do it. I need all the help I can get. YouTube is hiding these streams. They're making it very difficult for people to find the streams because that's what YouTube does. So when you like the videos, it helps the visibility. So give it a thumbs up. Lakers Pats 1, WWE should respond by Soulja Boy against Randy Orton at WrestleMania 39. Oh boy, I forgot about that. I forgot about Soulja Boy and Randy Orton and their little Twitter beef from last year. We can get Randy Orton and Jade Cargill in a tag match against Bow Wow and Soulja Boy. Shinakuma, thank you for the super chat. Corey Blake, before we even went live tonight, and I know it happened earlier, but I gotta give him the yes treatment. He dropped a $50 bomb in my lap. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Solomonster. It was great to see the House of Black return tonight. Let's just hope they don't get lost in the shuffle like before. Also, buy or sell on the Better Wrestler in 1997. Pilled up, or the Better Wrestler, I should say. 1997 Pilled Up HBK. Or 2009 Perk Angle. I gotta go with 1997 Shawn Michaels. 1997 Shawn Michaels was untouchable. But Perk Angle was great. Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury, happy Thanksgiving, Solomonster. We have everything already cooked. We just have to reheat it tomorrow. Where's my invite? I get no invite? There's no place at the table for me? What's up with that? Soulja Boy. Man, the only Soulja Boy song I think I ever cared about was the only real main hit that he ever had, right? Was it called You, or is that just part of the lyrics? That's the only part of it I remember. You, Soulja Boy, oh, why me, Frankie, why me? All right, deep, delicious chicken and turkey with flavor. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Solomonster. Deep, delicious, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. The one time a year where your name actually makes a lot of sense. Crank that. I'm sorry. That's what it is. Crank that. Crank That is the only Soulja Boy song I ever really mildly liked. Josiah Ball, what's up, Solomonster? Do you think that Kevin Owens could join the Bloodline and use them, and eventually he will turn with Sammy and go for the Tag Team Championships? No, Kevin Owens is not going to join the Bloodline. That is not going to happen. Wabi cranking Wami roll. Deep Delicious again. I am glad the Brawl Out Aftermath tour is finally over. I have to admit, it was hard for me to stay invested in the product because of the situation. As I said, with tonight's show out of the way and out of Chicago, we're not going to get any of the little CM Punk teases or anything like it. It was a one-night only thing. They played into the crowd. I had nothing wrong with that. Now we move on. Finally move beyond all of this. Sly SMI, longtime listener, first-time caller. Solomonster is a freaking baller. I don't know about that, Sly, but I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for the super chat. Quintus Brown, Punk against Omega, All Out 2023. It's gotta happen. No, it doesn't. And it's not going to. Want to make a bet? Not gonna happen. Jacob Donnelly, $5 super chat. Hey, Jacob, what's going on, man? I hope you're having a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. Bold prediction. CM Punk will be back in AEW by 2023. Something about the Elite match tonight has me feeling that way. Jacob, I think you're wrong, man. I think you're wrong. We'll see. We'll see, but I think you're reading a little too much into it. I think it was a one-night only thing. Deep Delicious chicken and turkey with flavor. Yes, I did hear and listen about your prediction on AEW, what they should do before Full Gear happened, and the Full Gear review. I love your words of wisdom. My words of wisdom are free for all of you. Brock Benningfield, I am thankful for all of your work. Happy Thanksgiving, Solomonster. Brock, thank you very much. Thank you for the $4.99. Big Armada 1988 with the $5 super chat. I cannot imagine being a CM Punk fan and still paying money to see a show with the guys that pushed him out of the company. Not a smart decision, in my opinion. Nash DTV. At this point, I wish Tony did not buy Ring of Honor and just let it die. I think there's a lot of people who probably feel that way, who just aren't into the Ring of Honor stuff and they're tired of seeing it on AEW television. But, you know, when Jericho's out there having the kind of matches that he had, like tonight with Ishii, can't complain about that. Slipper House Extra Extra. Long live Pastor Solomonster. Happy Thanksgiving, pal. I'm no pastor, but I'll take the love. Thank you, Slipper. Tyler, do we see Sasha back this Saturday at War Games? No, we see Becky Lynch back this Saturday at War Games. That is my prediction. Stephen Chappa with that $30 Bully the Clown super chat from earlier on says, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Lord Solomonster, first of his name, king of the wrestling podcast, and consumer of noodle pudding. So good, I had to read it twice. Stephen, thank you. Food Hive. I'm tired as fuck. I have been cooking all day long. Yeah, Food Hive, this is like your WrestleMania. I mean, it's Thanksgiving, right? You've got to be working 24 hours a day up until Thanksgiving Day, right? You've got the main dishes, you've got the side dishes, you've got the gravy for the turkey and the cranberry sauce and the stuffing. You don't have noodle pudding. See, what I want to know is Food Hive fixing a place at the table for Smurfette? Has he introduced her to the family? Is this where they get to meet Smurfette for the first time? You got to take pictures and show me. Frank Aquilino, Omega and the Bucks are so good. Played their part so well tonight, and Omega with the GTS. Chef's kiss. He knew what he was doing. Omega knew what he was doing. Marquise with the $10 super chat. Dynamite was fired tonight. Happy birthday to Mama Monster. Lost my mom 2 years ago. She just turned 65 2 weeks ago. We keep them alive as long as we keep on living. Happy Thanksgiving, Solomonster. Well, Marquise, I'm sorry to hear about your mom. And I appreciate the kind words. I did mention on Twitter yesterday that yesterday would have been my mother's 63rd birthday. And it's hard for me to believe because, you know, I share all this stuff with you guys. So when all that went down, you know, you guys were well aware of what was going on. And it's hard to believe that in March coming up, it's going to be 5 years since she passed away. It's just unbelievable to me. And, you know, times like this, the holidays, Thanksgiving, and, you know, the end of the year, and it's tough. It doesn't really, you know, people say, oh, with time and everything, and to some extent that's true, but you don't really ever fully get over that. So I posted a video yesterday that I put together a few years ago. I share it once a year, every year on her birthday. And I got a lot of kind messages for it, just, you know, sharing it with all of you. So I feel like I mentioned her on the podcast back, you know, when she was around, and I had her on the show that one time. It's still my favorite episode of the Sound Off I ever did, episode 495. And, you know, to be able to share that with all you guys, I think is very cool that you feel, you know, kind of like you knew her on some level. Deep Delicious Chicken and Turkey again. Jon Moxley to William Regal. You can run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God'll cut you down. Rosso P. Coltrane, thank you again for the $2. Griga says, Happy Turkey Day. Thank you, Griga. Same to you. Deep Delicious, Omega versus Ospreay, Wrestle Kingdom 17. Your thoughts? Just talked about that on the podcast this past Sunday. Very excited for that match. It's the match I was hoping that they would do. And the only thing I think that sucks is we're going to get Omega against Ospreay in the Tokyo Dome, and it's going to be in front of a clap crowd that is very likely not allowed to cheer and make any noise. So that sucks. It's not the same. It's just not the same. I'm sure it'll still be very good, but it's not going to be like these matches. So many of these matches, they're not going to rise to the level of like all-time legendary status like they would in front of a hot, loud crowd. You know, it's not the same. And it's a weird situation. It makes me wonder about the future of that in Japan because, you know, from what I understand, Japan has as good of a vaccine uptake as any country. And they're still very big into the masking and so all of those things, right? They have a lot of that going on in that country. And they're still not allowing cheering at wrestling events, right? We could have the Olympics. I think they had some kind of MMA show with 50,000 people, I think it was, at the Tokyo Dome, and everyone's cheering. But for the pro wrestling events, we can't have any cheering. Apparently, pro wrestling is different, I guess. It's held to a different standard than everything else. And so, despite all of that, they still don't allow cheering. Well, when it comes to the masking and whatever you think of that stuff, right? They put these measures in place, the vaccines and the masking and everything, because numbers start to go up a little bit more. And I get all that, but as good as the numbers are there now with that sort of stuff, and they don't allow crowd cheering, like it won't ever get any better than that. So it makes me wonder if we'll ever have cheering again at these New Japan shows. Like it just may be the way it is permanently from now on. And you know, it is what it is, but yeah, you watch some of these sporting events, you know, the World Cup is going on right now, and you know, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to the match. I am looking forward to the match. Barry MK400. Your favorite Rey Mysterio outfit? Probably the Halloween Havoc 97. the question mark onesie that he wore. That's probably still my favorite. Bill Baggins. Bill Baggins. Happy Thanksgiving from my family to yours, Bill. From me to you. Happy Thanksgiving. Bobby's World, 2110 with the $5 super chat, just showing some love. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Bobby, I hope you do as well. Enjoy the day. BCom See Clearly, thank you for the super chat. Food Hive says, making my crab deviled eggs right now. Ugh. Yeah, that super chat was perfectly timed. And it's another super chat from Food Hive. Food Hive hijacked his own super chat. Crab deviled eggs. Ugh. Awful. Awful. I'm sure you make them very well, but that just doesn't sound very appetizing to me at all. Rizzo with the $10 super chat. I am excited for my Lions to play our annual Thanksgiving Day game. Food and family, although I am Italian, so I have a lot of family who ask when I'll find a nice woman to date. Pray for me. I read that one earlier. But Rizzo, you'll be fine. I have faith you'll come up with a very exciting story to share with your family. Just something to entertain yourself. That's what I would do. I would just make shit up. Joseph Brooks, what prime years as a wrestler would be best for the dream match for Shawn Michaels and The Rock? 1997, Shawn Michaels in the ring with, there were a lot of really fun phases of The Rock. We had Colombian Drug Lord Rock when he would come out with those shirts. I call him Colombian Drug Lord Rock. But as far as the match, I guess, in the ring, probably 2000. Probably 2000. I would say The Rock from 2000, Shawn Michaels from 1997. There you go. Those would be their prime in-ring years. You put those two in the ring together, and I think you've got yourself a hell of a match. Rizzo, sadly, Dante is hurt. Photos are on Twitter. We talked about that. And he says, would they believe me if I showed a picture of Liv Morgan? Sure, just come up with a good story for it. Say that you met her on some dating app and you share a common interest, and she's a Jersey girl, right? So I don't know where you live. You're East Coaster now. She's a Jersey girl, right? She's in the tri-state area. Plus Ultra Adrian. Happy Thanksgiving, Solomonster. I hope you have all the noodle pudding you can eat. Now I have to mentally prepare myself to hear Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas 10 times a day. I have grown to absolutely hate that song because I hear it nonstop during the Christmas season. By the way, I have to just rant on this really quickly. Terrestrial radio fucking sucks. In case you didn't know. Now, I don't have satellite radio because I'm not in the car enough to justify the expense. If I was commuting every day, then maybe I would pay for it. And my car doesn't even have Bluetooth. Otherwise, I would stream Spotify and Pandora in there. So I'm relegated when I drive. If I want to listen to the radio, I'm relegated to having to listen to the local FM radio stations if I want music. And it's such garbage on the radio. That is when you can actually hear a song and they don't all go to commercial at the same time. It's the same songs over and over again, and 75% of the songs are shit. Am I the only one who feels this way? Terrestrial radio is absolute garbage. Terrible. And there's 2 stations that will be playing that song nonstop for the next 6 weeks. All the more reason not to listen to terrestrial radio. Maze, terrestrial radio is just the FM radio stations that are local to you when you put the radio on. That's what I mean by it. So instead of satellite radio, it's like regular radio. You have your regular FM stations and AM stations where you live, that's terrestrial radio. Howard Stern used to be on terrestrial radio. He left terrestrial radio for satellite radio. That's the difference between the two. But it's such garbage. My God. I'd rather just turn the radio off and sing the songs myself in the car. Sometimes I do that. Joshua Lavacek. Thank you for everything, Solomonster. Huge fan. Joshua, that's a very cool name. Thank you very much. Amari Johnson, is the Elite in Chicago the new Michaels in Canada? For AEW it is, yeah. Probably the closest thing. Thirsting Howell III with the $35 Seth Rollins super chat from earlier on. Happy Turkey Day Solo. I fell into the wrestling YouTube clip Black Hole. I almost said back hole, which would have had a very different meaning. Oh, me. Now I know how now I know how Jey Uso feels. Now I know how Jey Uso feels. Thirsting, you're like Sami Zayn. Happy Turkey Day, Solomonster. I fell into the wrestling YouTube black hole. And I saw Booker T give Major Guns a bookend on on par with Goldberg's Spear of Raven. I also have a plot of land in Newark. In Newark. If you want, minus the Lord title. I am not looking to own any plot of land in Newark. I'm not sure if you were to sell me a plot of land in Newark that there wouldn't be a body buried beneath it. So I think I will leave. I will leave the plot of land to you. Thirsting, I hate you. And it's not even your fault. You did nothing wrong. Food Hive. I am thankful for the sound off and the chat. Thank you, Food Hive. Joseph Brooks, here is a strange quest that I know, or a question I think he means. Buy or sell on which of these Vince McMahon's was surprisingly... What? You mean matches? I thought you mean like there's multiple Vince McMahon's. Let me reread that. This is a very strange question. You weren't lying. Here's a strange question. Buy or sell on which of these Vince McMahon's was surprisingly good? His WrestleMania 22 or his WrestleMania 19? They were both actually pretty good matches, but I remember thinking the WrestleMania match with Shawn Michaels was a lot better than it had any right to be. So I'm going to go WrestleMania 22. That one surprised me, and it shouldn't have because Shawn Michaels was in the match, but that one actually surprised me with how good it was. Retro KOH, we need a super chat of you rapping Crank That. I don't know that the world needs that, but I'm very flattered that you think it does. Food Hive with the $4.99. I bet Captain Planet was happy about Thunder Rosa dropping the belt. No plasticware tomorrow, guys. That guy hates plastic. All jokes, friend. One of the all-time great phone calls in sound off history here on YouTube. Some people are very serious about their plastic. And to that guy's credit, he was very serious that day about that. He said it looked like a plastic belt. That was when they had Camille made an appearance on Dynamite. This was back during the pandemic shows, and she had the NWA Women's title, and I think it was Camille. And this person was insistent that it was not the real belt. It was a plastic belt. In fact, it was the real belt, but he insisted that it was a plastic belt, and he was very passionate about it. I have that phone call somewhere. Deep delicious chicken and turkey with flavor. Hot turkey. Pecan pie. Oh, you've hit the hot spot with me. Pecan pie is my favorite. I just had some pecan pie the other day. Hot turkey, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, American football, and World Cup soccer. An awesome happy Thanksgiving this year. Go USA Soccer on Black Friday. Oh, pecan pie is my jam, man. Chauncey Curry, CM Punk replaces Kevin Patrick on commentary. Yay or nay? You know what? That's fine with me. It's Kevin Patrick. He ain't cutting it in that lead announce chair. Groovy Goose with the $9.99 super chat. Now that Vince's investigation is over, is there anything keeping him from at least taking part in creative, either over the phone or in person? Technically, no. If they wanted him back, I'm sure he would come back. But they're not bringing him back. All that would do is undermine Triple H. They're not going to undermine not this soon. They're not going to undermine Triple H. It would take a total collapse. The only way that Vince McMahon would ever even be, the thought would even be entertained of bringing him back in an official capacity. It would be like we just saw Disney, right? Bob Iger was out. He retired. They had that guy, Rob Chapek, I think his name is. He wasn't there very long. He just got the boot. They just brought back Bob Iger. Huge shakeup in the business world at Disney, right? They thought Iger was done. He was retired. He was gone. Although he wasn't exiled in shame like Vince McMahon was, but they just brought him back. If there was a business reason, if there was a total collapse and they said, shit, we have to make a move here, is it impossible to conceive that Vince McMahon could be back? No, it's not impossible, and he's still around. You know, he's still lurking in the shadows, but I don't see that happening. Thomas Rondon with the $5 super chat. Happy Thanksgiving, Solomonster, and the whole Sound Off family. It was great seeing the House of Black. God bless your mom. It is not forever. Thank you, Thomas. That's very kind of you. And yeah, let's get the Thanksgiving emotes here. We got the turkey. We got the... Well, they might only have a turkey. I don't know what other Thanksgiving emotes there are. But let's see those turkeys in the chat. Haven't seen any turkeys. Rizzo, I hear you, and I lost my brother in 2010 suddenly, and the pain never goes away, but things get a little bit better as time goes on. They do get a little bit better. Javier Martinez with the $4.99. Thankful for a lot of things, and you are included. 8 years of listening to your podcast. Also, I'm hearing of a 40-man or woman Rumble returning in 2023. What are your thoughts? I have not heard that, and I do not see there being any need whatsoever for that. In fact, last year, they struggled to even find 30 women to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. They had to bring in Mickie James, the Impact champion, the Impact Knockouts champion, because they didn't have enough people to fill spots in the Women's Royal Rumble. Why would they expand it to 40? That doesn't make any sense to me. So, Javier, I don't know that is... I don't know that is anything that you need to be paying attention. I don't know where you're getting that from, but I have not heard anything about that. Food Hive, I made that Smurfin' Smurfette joke with the addition of Jessica Smurfin' Rabbit, but you all forget about Jessica Rabbit for Smurfette jokes instead. Now, Jessica Rabbit is mine. Smurfette is yours. Juan Ocampo, Pat McAfee said mashed potatoes suck. Boo him. Yes. Boo that man. Mashed potatoes are very, very good. Sweet potato sucks. I don't like sweet potatoes. Mashed potato is good. Sweet potato, I don't. And I don't like cranberry sauce either. Retro KOH sending another super chat to say, screw terrestrial radio. Spotify all the way. That's right. You know what else you can listen to on Spotify that you can't listen to on terrestrial radio? Me. All the more reason to listen to Spotify instead of the radio. Rizzo. Amen. I live 30 minutes outside of Detroit, and Detroit sports radio and radio in general is such crap. I listen to New York sports stations and podcasts. Yeah, I'm just not big into the AM radio thing. Miguel says, Louis Dangor tweeted something about the 40-man Rumble. Ugh. You've got to be kidding me. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, boy. Let's... I don't see the need for a 40-man Rumble or a 40-woman Rumble. I don't see the need for it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about it, so... Until I see something more concrete, I'm going to assume it's not happening. I just don't... Yeah, I mean, Brock, why not make it 50? Why not go the route of the old WCW World War III Battle Royal? Hey, make it 60. Make it 60. We'll have the 3 screens that we have to follow, 3 different screens and 3 different rings going on at the same time. I always hated that World War III stuff. 30 men, 30 women. You don't need more than that. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Thirsting Howell III, just put on Mike and the Mad Dog if you don't want to hear Mariah Carey, but that might actually be worse. Mike and the Mad Dog. Mike and the Mad Dog have not been together in years. Where have you been? Thirsting Howell III is stuck in a time warp here. Mad Dog is doing his own thing on Sirius. And Mike, I think Mike just retired last year. Food Hive says, back what? Solomonster is a freak. Hey, what me and Jessica Rabbit do is none of your business. Food Hive also says it was Thunder Rosa's first appearance, not Camille. All right, so I wasn't sure if it was Camille or Thunder Rosa, but the point still stands. Her NWA belt was not plastic. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, where have you been? I thought you got lost. You walked into the wrong stream. We got Solomonster to corpse a few times this year. I call this a win and a success. You didn't get me to do nothing. I was being dyslexic for a second and I misread that super chat. And I cracked myself up. Cletus Smith IV. Should AEW erase Punk from its history? No. He didn't murder anybody. You don't erase Punk from your history. Punk is going to go down, if he never wrestles again for them, he's going to go down as a very important piece of their history. You cannot ignore that. Groovy Goose says, House of Back. Holes. Terrible. West Coast James with the $5 super chat. You may know me as Deadpool, Hollywood, West Coast. I'm the same listener since 2014. Happy Thanksgiving, and it's time for that food coma. James, thank you. Yeah, James is one of the OGs. He's been around for a long time. Joey, yes. Jessica Rabbit is human. Zizu. Your mom sounded like a great woman. Hope you were having a good night. Zizu, thank you. Liquid Sharingan, careful what you say about them sweet potatoes. I never liked them. Thomas says, yes, let's do a Thanksgiving Be the Booker. EJ Slemp was at the show. Deadest Chicago show I've been to. Really? I mean, it sounded pretty loud on TV. Didn't sound dead at all. Also, Tony Khan did not come out before or after the show because he did not want to get booed. Ah, Tony. Tony was afraid of getting booed in Chicago. What a coward. You got to go out there. You got to give the people what they want. If they want to boo you, you go out there and you let them boo you. Don't be afraid. Don't go running scared. Bryant Finley was the Brooklyn Brawler Pat Patterson's lover. You asking me for? I mean, that's always been a rumor. It's never been confirmed. A lot of wrestlers have alluded to it. Beyond that, I can't say. And frankly, you've put this image in my head that has just ruined my night. Between that and back holes and stuff, my night is ruined. Dr. Dakota Scorpio, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Thank you, Dakota. All right. Pearwolf says, like Solomonster was there. It's always been a rumor. But, you know. You're asking me to verify something that I cannot verify, nor do I want to verify. But it would explain how he was able to keep his job for so many years. In any event, you guys smashed the goal. And you know what that... Oh, Tyler coming in. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Tyler says, you are so amazing. Happy Thanksgiving to the best. Tyler, you the man. Thank you, sir. And he's got the turkey emoji, just like I asked. That's awesome. All right, let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
A Thanksgiving Eve edition of Be the Booker. Surely that has to bring us some luck, I would think, right? This is going to be our lucky night. Let's find out. We do one for the men, one for the ladies, and one for tag teams. And on the men's side, we begin with John Cena, who may well be in a feature match at WrestleMania next year in LA. That's the scuttlebutt. That's the rumor. Against who, we don't know. Is it going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin? Probably not. Is it going to be Austin Theory? Probably more likely than Stone Cold Steve Austin. John Cena, that's a big name. Where are all the Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks chants in the chat? John Cena gonna go one-on-one with Solo Sikoa. John Cena wrestling the enforcer of the bloodline. I think that would be a good match. Big match for Solo. Big match for Solo. Biggest match of his career. I like Solo Sikoa. He has adapted very quickly to the main roster. I mean, you talk about a quick transition from NXT to the main roster. Very impressive how he has just slid in there and doesn't look out of place. And it's almost like he's been there. He's been there forever. So now we try the ladies be the booker. And we begin with Liv Morgan, who was just mentioned in our, was it Rizzo who mentioned her? In the Super Chats, the former SmackDown Women's Champion Liv Morgan, who loves crashing through tables every week like she's Sabu. Liv Morgan going to go one-on-one with Riho. Liv Morgan against Riho. Trying to book big matches here. Liv Morgan and Riho, that just does not make the cut. So let's see if we can win the night here with that. We got to win here. Otherwise, we're going to have ourselves a very bad night. Tag teams, we begin with the Steiner Brothers. Former WWF Tag Team Champions, the Steiner Brothers. Oh, I love those belts. I miss those belts. Steiner Brothers going to be stepping into the ring to take on Shawn Michaels and Triple H of D-Generation X. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you close out Be the Booker with a main event. Triple H and Shawn Michaels against Rick and Scott Steiner. That is a fine way to conclude Be the Booker. Love it. That's a strong finish right there to that segment. That's what that is. That's a strong finish. 2 out of 3. It's a good score. Food Hive wants to know, how did I feel about the Walking Dead finale? I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. But obviously they left a lot of things unresolved because they have a gazillion spin-offs that are coming in 2023. So you didn't get that real closure that you would have been looking for as a fan of the show for some of the characters, but that was to be expected. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Sad it's over. You know, I stuck with it all 11 seasons. I know a lot of people bowed out, you know, midway through or after the early seasons, but it got better. Those last couple of seasons, it definitely improved. And I will be watching the spin-offs. I don't know when they start. I don't. All I know is it's next year. I don't know if they've announced actual dates yet, but there's at least 2 that I know of, maybe a third one. I'll probably be watching all of them. Deep, delicious chicken and turkey with flavor. Ice cream on pecan pie or whipped cream on pecan pie? How about none of the above? I can't do ice cream on pecan pie, and I can't do whipped cream on pecan pie. Nothing with cream or milk or anything like that. I can't do that anymore. Doesn't agree with me. You know what you do with pecan pie? You pop the slice in the microwave for about 6 or 7 seconds. You warm it up just a little bit, and that's it. You take a fork and you go to town. I don't need anything on top of it. I don't need to sprinkle anything on top of it. Just warm me up a slice of pecan pie, and that is just the key to my heart. Based God of Seduction. Hope all is well. Do you ever want to see a championship scramble again? How about Armageddon Hell in a Cell? Thanks. No, I was never a fan of the championship scramble concept. I didn't like it. Armageddon Hell in a Cell. Oh, you mean like 6-man Hell in a Cell? Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any great desire to see it. But the scramble match, I was never a fan of the concept. Eric, yes. Thirsting Howl the Third. Don't ever buzz my Livy. No soup for you. Power Spy 1 Games. Are the Sopranos in Be the Booker? I hope so. I don't think so. I could always add them, but I don't think they are. I should put Paulie and Chrissy in the woods when they were chasing the Russian. I should make them a tag team and put them in tag team Be the Booker. Rizzo with the $5 super chat. Is Friday going to be a Survivor Series prediction stream as well? Forgive me if you answered that already. Yes, I will do Survivor Series predictions on Friday. There aren't that many matches, so yeah, I mean, it made no sense to do a separate stream just for that. So we'll just kind of include that on Friday night. SmackDown, and we'll do Survivor Series War Games predictions and hang out some more with you guys and your questions and your super chats and all that good stuff. Deep, delicious chicken and turkey with flavor. Riho and Liv Morgan is a 5-star match in my universe. Well, I'm glad I don't live in your universe. Bryant Finley, have you ever heard the Sid Squirrel story? Well, I've heard of the Sid Squeegee story. The squirrel story, I vaguely remember it. I vaguely remember the squirrel story. Plus Ultra Adrian, thank you for the $4.99, Adrian, man. Adrian's coming in hot tonight. I I miss those belts as well. Today's titles look like giant quarters on a leather strap. And don't forget the Velcro. The snaps are gone. Now it's all Velcro. I had Velcro. I used to have Velcro. When I was 8, I had Velcro. But now the belts all have Velcro. Rizzo, Solomonster goes to town on pie. I'll show myself out. Good night, chat. Happy Thanksgiving. Solomonster loves pie. Like I said, you take that pie and you warm it up. There ain't nothing better, man. You don't have to put anything on top of the pie. You just have that pie just the way it is. Just au naturel. You just have that pie raw. It's all you need. Food Hive, here's what to do with pecan pie. Throw it away. Terrible. What kind of chef are you? You give that kind of advice? Crash with the $2. Who wins in a bar fight, APA Bradshaw or Sheamus? Sheamus. Bradshaw got knocked silly by Joey Styles. Fuck JBL. You go with Sheamus. You go with the Fighting Irishman. And EJ Slemp with the $4.99. Compared to other Chicago shows, this was not as hot. Still a good crowd. I don't know if we talked about it already, but will you be having noodle pudding? Apparently the noodle pudding has become quite a thing that people ask me about. The answer is yes, I will. King Bling Blah, add Lucha Underground stars to be the booker. Dario should be in AEW or WWE. I do miss Dario Cueto. I know they brought him in as Cesar Duran in MLW, but I don't have time to watch MLW. And it's not the same. I mean, part of it, honestly, even if they brought the Dario Cueto character to WWE, it still wouldn't be the same. It wasn't just the character. It was the character. It was the way that show was filmed. It really existed in its own little universe. And it just wouldn't be the same. So I do miss that show. Juan Ocampo says, can you check on Plumber Moxley? I heard he is really thankful for his buddy Kevin Dunn. Well, he's awfully quiet tonight, so I don't want to disturb him. I want to leave him alone. He's had a very bad week. He got screwed out of his championship. Tonight he's been in a really bad mood. So, the last thing I want to do is disturb him, and then he pops up and he says,
"Fuck Kevin Dunn."
Great. Now you did it. Now you woke him up. Brian Finley says, the squirrel apparently found some nuts on Sid. I'll bet he found 2 of them. Thank you, Brian, for the $2. And as you see in that super chat, look at that sign behind Roman Reigns. Thank you to the wonderful Fawaz in Saudi Arabia, always representing the sound off. Food Hive with the $4.99. I remember I would mimic The Rock and say I love poontang pie. I told my mom and teachers and got sent to the principal's office. I don't know what I was saying. You were just speaking the truth. Sometimes people are punished for speaking truth to power. I'm going to be back with you on Friday night. We will talk about SmackDown. It is the go-home show to Survivor Series, and we'll do Survivor Series predictions. And then, of course, we have Survivor Series War Games on Saturday night. Second weekend in a row. I'll be streaming live late Saturday night as soon as the pay-per-view is over. So you come right back here. Whether YouTube tells you or not, I'm telling you now. I will be live on Saturday night. Sunday will be episode 784 of the podcast. I don't know exactly how long it'll be or anything like that. It's kind of a quiet week, with the holiday and everything, but I'm sure there'll be stuff to talk about. By the way, I don't know what all these websites are going to do. All these websites and these aggregate sites, they're not going to know what to do with themselves because Dave Meltzer apparently is on vacation. There is no issue of the Observer this week. He's taking a rare vacation. So there's no Observer this week. There will be no Observer news for them to pull and get their 15 articles from. So I don't know what they're all going to do. So we'll have what to talk about on the Sound Off on Sunday. It'll be the Survivor Series post-mortem. But look, whatever you guys are doing tomorrow, if you are celebrating, if you are here in the U.S., I want to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I want to thank you for hanging out with me here on Thanksgiving Eve. This has become our Thanksgiving Eve tradition. Earlier today, I have the TV in the other room. I put on Survivor Series 1993. That was the selection for this year. And I just have it on in the background while I'm doing my work. That was the Survivor Series show I chose because it used to be the Thanksgiving tradition. And then it became the Thanksgiving Eve tradition. And that's what I grew up on. Survivor Series to me really was the Thanksgiving Eve tradition. So every year I pick a Survivor Series and I just sort of play it in the background. And that was my choice for today. But tonight, I got to spend my Thanksgiving Eve with all of you. So be well, stay safe, enjoy the holiday, eat lots of food, and I will see you guys back here for more Sound Off on Black Friday. Friday night for SmackDown and pay-per-view predictions. Until then, happy Turkey Day, guys.